Hello and welcome to OSINT, fun with open source intelligence, brought to you by Pentester Academy. My name is Jamal Bandakwala and I will be your host for this fun, exciting course. Today we're going to be covering another case study. We're going to be covering more specifically the Volkswagen emission scandal. Now, you may have all heard about the Volkswagen scandal. In fact, it's been in the news fairly recently because of some big numbers. More specifically, Volkswagen's agreed to settle, and we're talking to the tune of $15 billion US. That's what it's going to cost them to settle. Now, part of these funds will go to owners to give them the option to either repair their cars or take a payment, but a portion will also go towards funding for alternative fuels and so on and so forth. Now, this affected a lot of cars. We're talking about 11 million Volkswagens that we know of globally, but it also affected other vehicles as well. And the whole thing here was due to emissions cheating. So it started off, and it's largely been reported that it was due to emissions cheating on diesel vehicles, where the reported amount was quite different from what the actual amount was. And you can find more details on the BBC story listed there. Now, in this case, these vehicles were equipped with software to actually cheat in emissions tests. So when it came to portions where they had to pass their emissions tests, they would reduce the amount of nitrogen oxide that they were putting out there, and thus pass the emissions tests. And when it was not in use, it provided, and when when software was tuned out and was not being used in testing conditions or for these tests, the car got a lot more power. So, how was this caught? Well, you can blame OSINT for that. So remember what we talked about earlier about information being everywhere, and whatever information we give out tells us something. Well, in 2014, a non-profit, the International Council on Clean Transportation, in association with one of the big universities in the US, decided to do some testing, and they wanted to compare what the actual emissions were as opposed to what was actually stated. And they detected some unusual stuff which they hadn't anticipated. And the results from their test can be seen right there. And this was significant because the results on the Volkswagen vehicles was in some cases 15 to 35 times higher than what it should have been on some cars, and in others it was anywhere from 5 to 20 times higher than what it should have been as they ran their tests. They reported this to the Environmental Protection Agency, and that led to further investigations. The OSINT part in all of this is that it was quite open out there. Anyone could have run these tests. Now, remember what we said earlier, the information may be available, but you sometimes need to know how to ask for it, and to do the test you need funding, and that was the case here. But Volkswagen was publicly saying this is what you could get, and this is what it should be doing, while they used their own tools, they ran the test, and they noticed things didn't match up and something was quite wrong. And that's what led to investigating everything. So again, the OSINT portion here was they did the research themselves. They saw the reports, saying this is what you should get, and they carried out on standard Volkswagen and BMW vehicles, and noticed that in the case of the Volkswagen vehicles, they didn't match up. Now, Linkurious has an excellent write-up examining the scandal using graph analysis. I do encourage you to read it. It is a fairly well-written piece because it goes into other things which you might not anticipate. So it looks at relationships, and it looks at things like where are the impacted engines being used. And when you look into it further, you can see that the same engine may be used in more than one vehicle. So it may be used in more than just Volkswagen. It could be used in Skoda. It can be used even in other manufacturers too. So it is a useful piece, and they do bring up different portions that, as you can, from an investment point of view, as you investigate this, you can also make assumptions and calculations on who you would choose to short sell based on Volkswagen's problems. And that is all the time we have for now. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you.